Is it ever good or appropriate or ethical to lie?
Hmm.
This is kind of like the trolley
It
problem.
is a good question. Yeah, yeah. It's a great question. I'll answer it the way I believe. Again, I'm not making claims like this is objectively how things should be, but this is what I think. I think the answer to the question is yes, there are situations in which lies can be the best thing you can do. And I'll qualify it. Not saying like, oh, it's the good. It's like within so ethics, morality, they are very dependent on context. I mean, like a classic example of what you're describing is, um, let's assume you're hiding Jews from Nazis, and the Nazis come knocking on the door and ask you, "Are there any Jews in your home?" Well, are you going to say the truth? You're going to be honest and say, "Well, yeah, I have 14 of them in my attic." Well, you know what's going to happen next. Or are you going to say, "Nope, I don't have any of them, any Jews here. Not here," and then they leave. So, is there a situation in which like you can justify a lie? Yes. Is it morally a good thing? The concept of a lie, it's difficult. I look at these things as like I look at things like tools. In the situation I described, the ultimate good of saving lives required me to lie to the Nazis. Is that wrong? Yes, but it's more right than it is wrong. And I would be willing to engage with the consequences of that lie because the values that I hold are more important to me than telling the truth in that instance. But every situation will present a different set of moral calculations. And my general view is that you should tell the truth. There will be exceptions.
Maybe it's something like I, I think what you're saying is absolutely spot on. That a lie, or telling the truth for that matter, is just a mechanism. And once again, I'm going to use this word again. This is starting to turn out as my favorite word, the word intent. And
Mm.
it depends what the intention of the lie is, and maybe more specifically. And this might make the question a bit harder, although I think you've already answered it to some degree. If the lie is more in relation, no, if the lie is more in conflict with a law than it is with ethics, maybe that makes the lie okay. And what I mean by that, so maybe I'm using wrong terminology, but what I'm aiming at is that if you're in your example, right, the Jews in the attic, if you're saying no to the Nazis, then that's a lie. But it's a lie because a law or a way that humans started acting is fundamentally corrupt. So you're lying against that corruption. It's in conflict with that ideology. That's what you're lying against. So then you're not lying per se against ethics. You're lying against something that humans created that is wrong. So maybe in the context of lying against the lie being in conflict with an ideology like that, maybe there the answer is yes, that is okay. But is lying against ethics, is that a lie that can be okay? I hope I'm phrasing it. I hope I'm phrasing it correctly.
I understand what you're saying. So this is exactly why I don't subscribe to any one of the schools of moral philosophy, because this calculation is very complex and they are not robust enough to answer this question in and of themselves. So I will use them in conjunction. So virtue ethics, I want to be the kind of person that makes good virtuous choices and decisions. Okay. So the good choice and decision in this instance, it's going to be to save 14 Jews. The deontology is going to say, here's a set of rules, don't break the rules. What are the rules? Well, the rules, if you get down to the fundamental truth of the rules of what deontology, because the rules are whatever we say they are, but they're built on a fundamental transcendent truth, which is the dignity of the individual. And if you actually are adhering to that, then it's easy to justify lying to a Nazi to save 14 Jews, in my view. Because I'm still adhering to the value of human life. That's the deontological. The rule there is that human life is sacred. That's the thing there. And then when it comes to like utilitarianism, well, that's easy, right? The utilitarian thing there would be it's easy to say words that are cheap in order to save lives that are valuable. And you can ask yourself, does that make you a bad person for lying? This is what I was saying about within a certain framework, yes. But I reject those frameworks. Like I do not subscribe to like a Nazi ideology as being like this truth that needs to be adhered to. Right? So I think that in and of itself is a violation of ethics. And so in that sense, it's not that difficult for me to, I would say, justify lying. And some people might have an issue with that. Some people will be totally fine with that. But I think there's actually like an ethical way to say yes. Sometimes it's the right thing to lie. Maybe it sounds counterintuitive, but and again, that's my view. I could be wrong.
When we are talking about ethics, what do we mean exactly?
This interesting thing has to do with like a relationship with ourselves, but also with other people. Why did you do something? Well, I wanted to. Why didn't you do something? Because I didn't want to. With every choice and decision you make, you're thinking about it from the perspective of what kind of person will this decision make me? Sometimes in order to pursue what is morally correct or morally good, in fact, often, you have to